All right, let's talk about sugar and fat loss, and specifically the sugar diet. Recently, this has resurfaced and it's become very popular that eating more sugar is going to help you lose body fat very quickly. I'm going to explain sort of the details in this video of why this actually works and give you sort of the understanding of what's happening within your body by eating more sugar, and give you sort of different tools that you can apply this both for now and for the long term. So why should you listen to me? Guys, my name's Nick and I help people with fat loss and nutrition energy levels, but I'm also a guy who's lost over 100 pounds and I've gone through multiple times of weight regain and keeping it off. And sugar has been that one tool that I used in my diet in order for me to maintain my body weight and eat more food without fat gain. I myself weigh about 230 pounds now, and I eat over 3,500 calories a day with about 300 to 400 grams of sugar every single day. It's not going to make you fat. It's going to help you be leaner. And it's going to help you to improve and reverse metabolic issues, hypothyroidism, and overall put you into a high energy state for you to enjoy your life more. So what is the sugar diet? The sugar diet is in essence a sugar fast until about noon, 3 o'clock, or till dinner time. In this sugar fast, you're having exclusively sugar from fruit juice, raw honey, or even refined sugar sources like a Coca-Cola. And at that time, you have no protein, no fats. The idea here is that you want to activate different metabolic processes and hormone releases, which I'll talk about more here in a few minutes. But this time you go all day, you have sugar, and then at the very end of the day, or when you break that sugar fast is when you introduce your protein and your fats just for your overall balanced intake of nutrition. And the big thing with the sugar diet and the idea here is that you're increasing a lot of energy out and making it to where you can eat more without a lot of body fat gain. So instead of cutting weight on, let's say, 2,000 calories a day, you're now cutting weight on 3,000 calories a day. And that's sort of the big idea that you're doing is upregulating metabolism instead of lowering calories for fat loss. Okay, so now let's get into the mechanisms of what's happening within your body. With enough sugar, specifically fructose, you start to increase liver glycogen. In your body, you want to have high liver glycogen and you want to be topped off so that your body can convert the inactive T4 thyroid hormone into the active T3. And T3 is the active thyroid hormone that's going to control the metabolic rate within the body. Helps you have a lot of energy, it makes you lose fat faster, helps you to have a higher pulse rate and body temperature. It also helps you to better convert into androgens like testosterone and DHT, which I'll tell you about here in a second. But the idea here is that if you have enough liver glycogen and you're running on thyroid hormone, you're now off of the stress metabolism, which is the release of free fatty acids for energy. So whenever you have low liver glycogen, your body releases counter-regulatory hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. This is your backup fuel coming in to release free fatty acids to be used as energy for your body to function. That process is very stressful. That's a high stress state. It's something that we don't want to be in. It's what you don't want to be in. Whenever you're running on cortisol and adrenaline, you're in this low energy state and you start to head towards worse body composition, more difficult time losing fat, and overall you feel worse. So the idea here is that if you can have more sugar, increase T3, suppress free fatty acids, and you're now off of that stress metabolism, you're now in a better state to convert all this stuff into your steroid hormones as a result as well. So if you have T3, vitamin A, and LDL cholesterol, these all combine and they convert into pregnenolone, which is the master hormone, the master steroid hormone for your body to convert into testosterone, DHT, and overall give you that nice muscle mass improvements, more fat loss, better androgenicity, better things that help to regulate the metabolic rate and overall increase the amount of energy available in your body, even down to the mitochondria. So another thing that sugar does is that it helps maintain the metabolic rate. And in this study, the ones who had more sucrose within their diet were better able to maintain their metabolic rate in a low calorie environment. That just pretty much means that, hey, we're going to be able to shred fat on a higher amount of calories and continue to maintain it for a longer period of time, losing more fat because you still have to be bound by the energy calorie equation, all right? And another thing I found interesting is that whenever Coca-Cola, just regular Coca-Cola, was added to the diets of rats, they were able to eat more calories and lose more body fat just by the addition of that within their diets. And that's why I love that this diet is starting to become popular and that sugar is being promoted again, because sugar helps to put you into a different state of being. It's a signal of abundance. It's not one of scarcity. And from people from past years are sick of dieting. It's been a lot of keto, a lot of carnivore, a lot of stress, all this stuff. And that's that low energy scarcity mentality with dieting. But this one does the opposite. It tells you to increase metabolism instead of lowering it. And if you increase metabolism, you have a better outcome both now and in the future. And I'll tell you more about that here at the end of the video. Another mechanism of this diet is the FGF21 hormone release, or fibroblast growth factor 21. Back in the early 2000s, they were starting to uncover this gene. And this was about people who had a lack of protein, a protein restriction, or if they were in keto or if they were fasting, that they had very powerful metabolic recovery and overall issues started to be reversed. What happens by this activation of FGF21 and this release is that it helps your liver to better be able to burn fat and be able to get rid of it. In addition, it also helps to convert the fat in your body, the adipose tissue, from white fat into brown fat, or the browning of fat in your body. And why do you want more brown fat? So brown fat is actually going to help increase body heat, thermogenesis. So at this time, your body has to upregulate, generate more heat. So your body's at a higher body temperature, further increasing the energy out of the equation of fat loss by just existing. And who doesn't want more of that? Another key component of the sugar diet is that it helps to operate within the Randle cycle and to be bound by it. So the Randle cycle is the competition between free fatty acids and glucose for oxidation and energy. And the idea here is that if you have both fat and sugar coming in at once, your body gets confused and it doesn't know which fuel source to operate, so it ends up storing more of it. By doing just pure sugar, you're telling your body in this Randle cycle that, hey, we're burning glucose and we need to keep doing that, rather than have both of the mixed signals coming in. Well, I don't think this is a huge thing, and I don't think it really gets activated whenever you're eating, a whole foods diet and eating relatively clean. It's more of a problem with people who have, a pizza, or they have a ton of ice cream, or they have a ton of these shitty foods in their diet that activates the Randle cycle, and your body's like, what the hell do we do with all this energy? I don't know where to put it. So I wouldn't get too neurotic about this one of being like, I can't have 1 gram of protein, I can't have 1 gram of fat on my sugar fast. You're going to get some amounts, and that's fine. It's just the big idea is that, hey, don't go have a ton of carbs and a ton of fat at once, as that's where you're going to get a lot of issues as metabolically. So the last part of the sugar diet is that it helps to create a very steep and easy to follow energy deficit. Any type of diet like keto, fasting, sugar diet, it's hard to fuck up, right? Because you're literally going to be having sugar all morning and you're going to be in this very restricted energy deficit, because a Coke has 150 calories, this Mexican Coke here. A piece of fruit, a banana, an orange, an apple, about 100 calories. And if you're eating fruit or you're eating sugar all day until 3 o'clock, you got to eat like 15 bananas, 15 oranges for you to be over and increase and put into an energy surplus. So nobody does that. You're not going to go eat, all that amount of fruit. So it makes your body like, hey, we're going to be in this energy deficit very easily, and we'll go back through and, have our big normal meals later in the day. And that just makes it easier for fat loss overall as a whole, and more specifically, weight loss. I'm going to touch on that here now. So this is the basic mechanisms of the sugar diet within your body. And I will tell you that I'm not going to tell you not to do this. I think you need to go experiment. I think you need to go test what's best for your body. But I will tell you some things to watch out for when you are doing this, so you don't make the mistakes that I did when I did this last year. Last year when I did this, I read Jesse Itzler's post and I started to follow Fruit Till Noon. And at first, doing this, I felt incredible. I had so much energy. I felt freaking awesome. I was losing 2 to 3 pounds every single week. I was like, man, this is the easiest weight loss has ever been. And it truly was. But then issues started to happen. I started to get very cold in the morning. I started to become very fatigued. And I started to give myself hypothyroid symptoms again, as I've dealt with that in the past. And in addition, I started to get smaller and I started to lose lean body mass. And as a big guy, being 6'4" and, this heavy weight, and I got big bones and stuff, I look skinny. I look like a meth head by doing this stuff because it worked too well, to be honest. So what I would not do when you're doing this diet is, one, do not eat very low on your calories. You need to make sure that you're eating enough calories, because this does help to stimulate the metabolism. And if you do this the wrong way, then you'll be in a very steep deficit and you start to run into issues losing lean body mass, and you don't want that. In addition to the lean body mass issue, ensure that you're getting enough protein. I was eating about 150 grams a day as, sort of protein restriction idea. And I realized that this is not as effective as eating a high protein diet, one that's 0.8 grams to 1 gram per pound of body weight per day. So ensure that you're getting enough protein and don't lose muscle mass like I did. And finally, I want you to understand that, hey, this can be a short-term fat loss thing. It can be something you can use for a few weeks, maybe a few months, and squeeze by and lose a lot of body fat. But know that a majority of the work is coming from ultimately the energy deficit. And whenever you transition off of this and you've experimented with it and you decided, hey, does this work for me, my genetics? Does it actually solve the root cause of my issues? That's when you want to come back into a personalized approach to your diet. Like, you have to have your own approach, and you must figure that out through experimentation. So that is it for this video. If you have any experience doing a lot of sugar, if you're somebody like me who loves sugar and who loves this model nutrition, the actual understanding of the body, put that down below in the comments and let me know. If you found this video valuable, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll put another how to do this coming soon if you're interested. So that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.